Look what they got. A toilet, a privy, whatever you like to call it. And the Bothy's even better. It's always been a cosy little Bothy, this. Instead of having two wide open kind of rooms, you had, if you remember right, if you ever look back at my videos, we had one room, but the other one opened up into a room, if you get what I mean. I'll show you when I get here. It is, by the way, 10:30. I'm just chatting to two guys. They're doing the same walk, believe it or not. Now this room, that wasn't there. There used to be them steep stairs here, if you remember right, and this was all open. But now they've closed that room there, which is brilliant. There's a lovely turning stairways, which is nice. And this room is now a bit different. They've changed the benches. There used to be a big, if you remember right, the door used to be there. And there would be an L-shaped bench here. Stove still there, and the table used to be there in front of this rack thing. Anyway, I checked the Bothy book and no sign of Paul coming this way. You had to check it, didn't you? I think we'll get some air in. It's a bit groggy in it. You lot, I don't want you going too far because there is... Hey, out of there! Close that. I don't know if they want that closed, but I don't want you going in there, so I think I'll close it. There's other people's gear in it. So I'll close it to make sure it's safe. Oh, look at that one. You're probably getting all this when you did, wasn't it? And what happened? It was holding it up. Oh, just holding it. Calm down, you lot. So there is, I've been told, 2 people that have been stopping here last couple of days in here. So I'm waiting to see when they come back. They've probably been gone out for the day. Hey, calm down. And look, bench as well. If you remember right, I used to have my chairs sitting here, and there was a great big, we used to sit here, a great big stump, and I used to chop wood on the stump. Shame that's gone. Probably here. There's the stump, I bet. Oh no, there it is. The old one there. That really is manky now. And that's all grown, isn't it? I remember you walking through there many a time. Hey, get out, there'll be ticks in there. So, I'm having lunch. These lot, I think they will calm down in the next hour or so, maybe. Beautiful. Right, I'm in my night gear. I'm chilling now because nothing to do. Fire's ready to start. I'm not expecting a hot fire or anything like that. I just want, it's nice when you're in a Bothy just to have a little fire maybe for an hour. It's definitely not cold. It'd be just nice just to have a glow to the room. Right, let's start thinking out loud. So, it leaves Corrie Holly Bothy, or otherwise known as Electric Bothy. It's a steep incline, but it's all track, more or less. Nowhere to go off, really. You know what I mean? You really would have to stray. There's no real massive river crossings. A few streams maybe run across, that's it. Then you come up to the top, then it levels off. But the good thing is, when it levels off, you have targets. There's cairn markers, and there's also a gate. You've probably seen many people use this gate that they open and shut, even though, and I think there's a sign, please shut the gate, you know what I mean? There's no fence either side, it's just a gate. So that's easy, you know, on the top. Soggy, boggy, but there is a good trail as such. You can see where people go, you know what I mean? So, again, no real reason to stray off unless something happened and you know, you got ill or something like that and start, I don't know, having an episode or something. But anyway, I don't think none of that happened. So, there you do come to a crest, and that is steep and is very slippery, and it's quite a way down, you know what I mean? So you could take a tumble there in wet conditions. But the police have been up there and they say they've checked it and all that. The helicopter's been over. Then you come down like a mountain pass and it gets slowly going down, very boggy. Several river crossings. Now I asked the police officers what the weather was like at the time and they said they believe it was wet. That could mean some of the river crossings would be hard to get across, so you might have stayed on one side, probably on the right hand side, more or less all the way down, rather than try and cross, because normally you cross that river about 3 or 4 times as you're coming down. Now when you get to the lower end, there is a faint track on as you're going down on the left hand side. That's the worrying bit I hate, because I think I've said in one of my videos, I would not like to walk in there, especially in the wet or anything, because you can fall into the river and it's a steep drop into, it's like a miniature canyon as such, you know what I mean, with lots of rock and everything. But again, the police said they've checked that. Then when you pass that, you're supposed to be on the right hand side. Some people say go on the left, but I always stay on the right hand side because, and I put on my videos, there is a stalker's track. You can see the markings of a wheeled or tracked vehicle about 20 yards from the river inland, going in, you know what I mean? And that takes you straight to the bridge that crosses, I think it's the River Pean down the bottom there. But a lot of people miss that track and try and stick near the river. It's really hard, tough terrain. And they end up in the bog down the bottom, just at the river, Glen River. And so many people struggle getting around now. I was talking to the 2 guys that were here today and they said they had that exact problem. I said, you didn't see the track? And they went, what track? There is a really good defined track of a vehicle that you can follow, and it leads you straight. It weaves a bit and goes between these mounds. I call them miniature mountains, I think. They look like donuts or whatever. But and then it takes you straight over the bridge. That bridge then takes you into a plantation that brings you up where I showed you this morning, up that track, back onto this track up here, and then you turn right and follow it, weave it round to H Hill. Now H Hill's quite hidden on the right hand side. You wouldn't see it if you're on the track in the wooded plantation going by, but when you do break out, the plantation ends and you come out to an opening. If you look to your right, you'll see H Hill Bothy. Now if he's past that and he doesn't want to go to the Bothy because he's got a double bat, you'd be pushing on. Now when you get to that clearing, it weaves round to the left, and then there's 2 choices you can go. You can go one way, there's the back of the plantation and along a fence. I've never used that because it looks harder to me. Or you can weave in between the plantation, but it's lots of slippery logs, very boggy, and it's a steady incline all the way up through this plantation. Very messy, stinky bog and all that. You'll see stalker vehicles goes up there, and I think they churn it up quite a bit. When you get through there, you'll come to the end of the plantation, you'll come to an opening, and then you've got a valley system, very much like that there. You can't go at the left and you can't go at the right, and it's much more steeper. There's more sheer-sided valley, so you have to follow as it takes you around. There's a river again, I can't remember the river, and you just follow the river. But there is a couple of places you could cross the river and get lost by going the wrong way, and it does split, the track does split and takes you completely the wrong way. So that's a possibility there. But say you do follow a river, it eventually leads to 2 locks, and quite decent sized locks, but I don't know how deep they would be. And you walk along the outside, on the left hand side edge of both of them. And when I say it's a defined track, you could easily make out where people have been walking, especially after they've been doing the Cape Wrath. It gets a lot of footfall. Then you'll get past the last lock and you'll go across some green. There's a river crossing. You hit a river crossing, it's like a bend. I'm trying to see, like up here, a bend. So you'll hit one river crossing, then hit another because the river bends. Normally there's stone pile to show you where to walk. So you'll see the stone pile and you'll go, oh, that's where I've got to cross. And you'll see the other one. It can get deep. What I mean deep, about knee deep in bad weather. And it can be flowing quite fast, but I don't think so. But anyway, then you skirt on the right hand side of a bog, and it is very mushy because if you put your foot down on the too far You know, you're basically skirting on an edge. You know what I mean? You'll sink up to your probably shins, and it's really wet there. And you'll follow that around, and then you'll go up an incline, like a side of one of these. You know what I mean? Not high, and you'll keep going up, and it'll weave like scissors, and it'll bring you over the tops, and then you're back down, and you'll see some real big waterfalls on the left hand side. You'll go over a wooden bridge, which is lovely running water underneath. Safe, the bridge is solid and safe. It was when I last went, it was a couple of years ago. And that'll lead you all the way to Loch Nevis in Sowlees. Now, Loch Nevis, when it comes in, you have to skirt on the edge, but when it goes out, it goes a long way out, and it does dry out. But you can't miss Sowlees because it's right in front of you as you're going heading to that estuary. So you should have stopped at Sowlees at least. If not, there's plenty of camping places outside, and people would have surely seen, because again, it gets a lot of footfall. A lot of people are doing Lake Cape Raft. Some people are doing the trek to Inverie because it's so beautiful. They've seen videos like mine and other people's, you know what I mean? So they want to follow the trail, and it's a nice trek, and it takes you through no doubt. After Sowlees, you leave Sowlees, and you've got two choices. If the tide is out, you can follow round to it's like a boggy salt marsh. Now when the tide's out, that's easy to cross. You just stay near the bank and follow the river, and you'll come to another big wooden bridge. That bridge was put there many years ago because so many people were losing their lives. So you'll cross that, and then it's basically it is a maze. You are literally going through like a valley, over some parts. You'll come to a nice clearing which looks like a little oasis where it's really flat grass, but no one ever pitches there because they need to push on. And then when you get round there is a bit up, and there is a trail, but a lot of people do miss it sometimes, and you have to go, I don't know, about from here to where that rock is up there, as you can see. So from that bottom of the river to, say, where that shiny rock is, it's quite a steep up, you know what I mean? And then up there where that rock is, say, you'll pick a trail up. Now I've seen a lot of people go right when they hit that rock, say. So I'm just giving you an idea where the rock is. See, there's a trail normally about that height. I've seen a lot of people go right. That takes them into Loch Kish, where there's some dams, and that's going totally the wrong way. I've watched 2 videos on YouTube where people have done that. So that is a possibility. And when you're tired, it's easy to make mistakes, and I've seen 2 people do that, but that's too far from here for us to do at this time. What you should do is take a left, and that trail then leads you over a mountain pass. Not that high, probably about as high as this one here, but it's a easy pass to get over. You know what I mean? It's no scrambling or anything like that. It's a defined pass that goes between. You don't hit no summits. You kind of go between two mountain ranges. You know what I mean? Very easy to go over. You'll go over the tops of that. It'll level off at the top, and then there's a valley that leads down to Manbowersdale. Now that's so defined that for some reason that's got a good trail alongside the river. The river's never really crazy there, and it's easy down. You could turn an ankle or anything like that, but you could do that anywhere, like here. Then you come down, and what you should do is take a left and go up another mountain pass, very similar like there, where it goes up between 2 mountains, and that's Manbowersdale. And it's a very defined trail. I mean, it gets a lot of footfall. You could not get confused, you could not get lost, and there's no real way you could fall off that trail, you know what I mean? Because where there is river crossings, there's little bridges. It weaves like scissors up to the pass, but it's dead easy, you know what I mean? It's steep, and it will exhaust you if you can't heavy pan, but you can't really struggle on that one. You'll get to the top of that, and then you'll look down and you'll see a loch. I can't remember what the loch is, and you'll see the trail. It goes down the side of a valley, and there's wooden bridges. There was one that was broken, but you can easily scramble over the river. I don't know if they've fixed it. It never gets really heavy. I've never been there and seen there when it's been heavy rain. I might be wrong, but it's a defined trail, and that leads you down to the loch. The loch's on your left, and you follow this trail down. and then you'll hit some corrugated sheds that look like farm sheds. Normally there's Highland cattle down there. Sometimes, sorry, I'm just showing you the ground there. And then you just follow, and you'll see a spire on a hill. I can't remember what it's like. It's some monument that was put up by one of these estate owners many hundreds of years ago, in memory of his wife or his father or something like that. And when you get there, you know you're heading into Inverie, and it's a defined track, and it suddenly picks up really well and goes through a plantation, and that brings you down to Inverie. And again, you go left. You can go left. There's a campground at the base of this, at the end of the plantation, sorry, breaks out into a road. It's the only road on Inverie. You go left, there's a campsite. If you go right, and this is not a great distance, like half a mile each way, you come to the old forge. There's a shop, and you can have a drink, and you'll see Loch Nevis right in front of you, and there's yachts and all that. So that is the trail. I might have missed a couple of little minor things out, but anyone that's done it will tell you that's probably more or less spot on, the trail. It's not. As I say, that bit where they go up at quite a height to get onto a trail on the top that brings them to a pass. A lot of people I've seen, as I say on the videos, they've taken a right, and that brings you into a lot Kish, and you go through a valley and all that. That will take you way out your way and completely lose you. And I've seen people do 4 or 5 miles that way. So that's something someone can look at in the future, or maybe in the coming days when I get back and someone hears the video. I'm guessing the police would have and the mountain rescue have all been up there and done it anyway. But yeah, you know what I mean. It's, how can I define the trek from Glenfinnan to Inverie? Beautiful, pleasant, can be hard in bad weather. I mean, walking from here to my car could be hard in bad weather. To be honest, if I was rating it and kind of 1 to 10, 10 being really hard, I'd give it about a 7. It's not really hard. It's just a long slog, quite a few miles to take in. Could you get lost? As I say, there's only that bit when they go up, scramble up to a trail quite high up. They could get lost there, because I've seen people do it. But in general, no. And it's to say, it normally gets a lot of footfall. So if you had a slip or a fall, somewhere along that trail, within hours, you would expect someone to come along, even in bad weather, because there's a lot of people do the Cape Wrath late. You know, they should be finishing now, or finished now, because of the weather's changing. But there's always 1 or 2 that do it. So, and as I say, you'll get a lot of people do the Inverie hike from Glenfinnan to Inverie. I mean, the 2 guys came this way and stopped at this Bothy. They chose to come here to this Bothy, probably because it's normally quieter, and then go up to H-Hill and that way. So again, Paul could have come this way, could have stopped at this Bothy. He just didn't sign the book, but it seems quite busy. I've been reading the book back for the last few days, and it seems always people are in. And again, he would have had people, not everyone would see the appeal, but sooner or later someone would see and say, yeah, I remember this guy, you know what I mean? So, especially now with more appeals on news channels, online sites and all that, and Facebook and things like that, social media. So, that's the whole trail. Now, I still think tomorrow I should still go where I was originally going to go. The reason why I'm saying that is the beginning of the hardest bits, you know what I mean? So I'm going to be backstaging up to that slippery slope that comes down from Glenfinnan, from Corryholly Bothy, or the Electric Bothy, whatever you like, the top end, which is quite steep, as I say. So if you rewind where I was giving you the list of how it went, that's the steepest part coming down. I think I should head up there and do it in stages, like 4 miles, 4 miles, 4 miles pitch. Stella can rest, and then we can search, and we'll probably push wider, you know what I mean? I know the police say they've done it, but the police and mountain rescue have probably done all the stages I've just told you. So whatever I choose, it's going to be done. But they've come from there today, from Oban, you know what I mean? So that's just been checked, you know what I mean? So you got to choose something. So I'm going to stick with that. And again, I can get the drone out, and hopefully I've had sleep and won't mess up this time, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It just all went wrong today. But yeah, I think I should stick with what I planned. And then if I have to come back, because sadly Paul hasn't been found, I can pick up where I left off and go a next stage to, from here, Glen Pean, to say halfway to Sowleys, and do it in stages there. And then another time come from Sowleys up to that mountain pass and near Barrisdale, you know what I mean? Do it in sections that way, do it thoroughly. I know it's going to take time, but that's the one frustrating thing. If you're searching for someone that's a long time missing, it just takes time. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? There's no easy fix. And then it'll be the last bit from, say, Barrisdale into Inverie, but that's very hard to get lost there, you know what I mean? But again, you have to do it. So I can do it in stages, or people could do it in stages, you know what I mean? Volunteers, after a mountain rescue or the police say they can't do much more. I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping and praying that he's found safe, he's taken refuge in one of the Bothys or whatever, or he's camped somewhere and just resting until he's found. We've got to live in hope, and I pray for the family that that's going to be the result. Yours hope. But if it is a long term, then that'll be an issue. I have to do it that way. Look at the weather for this place and look at the weather for Loch Dochard and choose which places I go and which searches I do. Right, so I'm going to stick with my original plan. And the police officer said to me today, if you want to do it, you know what I mean? And you know, that's what I've been planning to do. So I'm not going to change, because if I change, I might regret that I didn't do what I was going to do, if any of that makes sense. Right, gotta go. I'm rambling way too long. This is the old Alton mat. I think it's Alton Plus. There's the name, Alton. Inflates really easy with inflating bag, as that also turns out to be a storage bag, and it takes about 5 goes on this, you know, getting air in, crunching it up, blowing it through. Really inflates really quick. Now, in the past, you would have looked back in my videos, you would have seen I used an X-Firm, Neo X-Firm, brilliant mat. Quite warm, easy to pump up, especially if you use one of them little miniature air compressor things that you can go for Amazon for peanuts. But the dogs will puncture it, because an X-Firm is very, very light, ultra lightweight, and it just doesn't give you that security that if the dogs jump on it, say getting out the tent, or you know, they suddenly hear something, boom, straight across, they'll punch it, and then I'll be stuck. And I've been in that situation in the past with a different mat, the Alpkit Aero 120, which is a half mat, and they did exactly that, punched it one year. And if you again on the videos, you see that I was struggling to inflate it through the night and patch it up and everything. This inflates through the back button, and the same, unpop it and push your finger in, it kind of releases a plunger in there. That's the other night when I was in Loch Dochard, I didn't have this pushed right in. So when I was lying there, it popped back out through the night, and that's some stains, not from me, that's from the dogs drooling on it. But the reason I got this, as I say, X-Firm, very flimsy, very brilliant mat, but expensive. This was cheap. I got this on eBay for about 50 quid. I saw a bloke on YouTube advertising it, and he's using it on gravel as a surfboard. He's kind of going down hills on it. He's jumping on it. He's got his dog walking across it and everything. And I thought, well, I know everyone tries to push their product, but I thought if it's just half as good as he's, you know, making out, then this will be a better thing for my monsters. You do get a repair patch. Lying on it has been brilliant. What I did notice one night, I don't know if I was running hot or something, I got condensation in the channels, probably I was running too hot and overheating, and I've had that with these kind of mats, you know what I mean? When you open them out, you get the bigger ones. This I've cut down. You'd get condensation in the egg cups, you know what I mean? So I think everything has its flaws, you know what I mean? But very comfortable, cheap, sturdy, robust, inflates in seconds. You don't need no compressor or anything for this kind of thing. The airbag is more than sufficient. As I say, and also used as a storage sack. When you let this out, roll it up, you put it into the bag you use to puff it up and stow away. It looks like waterproof. Everything all pops together, you know what I mean? So you've got no air, and it's got clips on the top when you rolled it up. Very good. You've seen my multicam. I can't remember what this is. Oh God, what? Corinthia. That's it. Corinthia multicam. Yes, look at the size. Even compressor's big, but synthetic. Very warm for these kind of temps, and also autumn temps. I have used this one in winter. It's supposed to be rated -8. I did use it in temperatures around -8, -9, and I was cold, and I was wearing a puffer jacket and all that. So different people. The reason I say these will let you down in very cold temperatures, they're quite baggy inside, so you've got so much room, and the more room you have inside a sleeping bag, the more you have to heat up, and you'll get cold spots because that air will get cool during the night. So, and the only reason I like this also is because it zips down the middle. I hate the ones that zip on the side. I know I've got some expensive ones, and they do zip on the sides, but I really do like the ones that unzip down the middle. It makes your life so much easier, especially during the night if the dogs need to go out or something like that, or Rogue's being sick and you have to move quick, you know what I mean? But as I say, very bulky, quite heavy, but even if it gets wet, like you've seen in the past when I've done river crossings, because the water's been so high, my back end has been dangling in the water. Even in winter when I cover this, you know what I mean? There's always a chance of it getting damp. At least, maybe at one point getting wet, maybe. But even wet or damp, it will still heat you up, you know, still keep you warm during the night as long as the temperatures don't plummet, you know what I mean? As I say, it's rated to -8. I'd say no way. I know other people would disagree and said they've had it out. Some people are really warm sleepers. Now, as I'm getting older, I'm not saying I'm a cold sleeper, but my feet get cold sometimes. That's why I wear socks in there. I'm probably an average sleeper now, whereas before I used to be a warm sleeper. But for an average sleeper that doesn't feel over warm at night, then yeah, -8 is pushing it. I'd say it's about -4, -5 at the most. That's my verdict. As I say, different people tell you different stories. You can get a liner. I've got a liner for this, so that will increase the warmth, you know, the rating that you can get it down to, but not by much, you know what I mean? Probably -8, pushing it, you know what I mean, with the liner in. That's my verdict. But I love it, you know what I mean? I've got down and all that. I use down when I know the temperature is going to be so cold that it's going to be snow or ice, you know what I mean, and the less chance of it getting wet. But again, if I'm doing river crossings and the bag is at the bottom of the pack and the river's high, you shouldn't be crossing high rivers, but you have to sometimes, you know what I mean, just be careful. And the pack will be, even with a dry bag, will be in the water. You don't realise, you know what I mean, because you're worried about what's in front of you, waves and all that, especially if you've got dogs behind you or anything like that. And if it's fast flowing, it's going to puff up anyway, the water is. But that's what I use through the year. And as I say, that takes quite a big chunk of the pack, you know what I mean? But it's good base in the bottom. It's nice and rock and solid there. So I like that. But I could get lighter. I could get a lighter mat. But I've got dogs. And again, you know, dogs come in wet in my tent and they shake or whatever, and I can't stop them because I can't catch them at the time. If they get my sleeping bag wet, this will still keep me warm, whereas a down bag, if it gets wet, you're finished, you know what I mean? It'll just turn into clumps in there and you'll never dry it off. You could be in front of a fire all night. You'll not get it puffed out. It needs to go into a washing machine with some tennis balls and get it back puffed out. So it's not too risky, you know what I mean? when you know you're going to get off and on weather. Synthetic, but yes, it's going to be bulky and it's going to be heavier. So I mean, you've seen that before, the sleeping bag, but there's the mats, just in case people are thinking. You see them, there is an Australian company, you can order from the company, they're advertising online, but the thing is, I think there is some kind of VAT and surcharge, because it's from Australia. Keep your eyes open on eBay, they do pop up. Some people probably don't like them because they feel a bit too robust, or they're weighing more than, say, these ultralights. But people are not going out with dogs, then obviously you'd be using the next firm, something like that. I have to think of dogs, I have to think of everything that could happen. If I'm in a tent, dog punches this and I'm trying to pop it up and trying to fix the puncher and it's not working, I'm lying on a cold floor, I'm not getting sleep. Dogs next day are struggling because I'm stressing, and it's a recipe for a disaster, because if you're not asleep, you see what it's like today. When you're not quite with it, you're making mistakes, you know what I mean? So yeah, sometimes better safe than sorry. But anyway, that is the sleeping system. And obviously I use, can't remember what this is. This is Sea to Summit Aero Pillow, Premium Large. It's done me fine. I've had that for years. No problem. Quick puff, couple of puffs, it's puffed up. And it deflates, look at the size of it. And it's light as anything. You know what I mean? Yep, lovely. So I just thought I'd show, because I will be showing different bits of kit, because I know people see sometimes and they ask questions. So someone's asking about me hiking poles. And these are Black Diamond Alpine cork. And obviously for that reason, look. And the curved at the top. I take the straps off. I learned a lesson years and years ago when I was with the dogs. I think the dogs clipped one of the poles. This is before I had Rogue. This is Stella and Rebel in Excitement. The pole got something like that, and I had the straps on, and I tripped over the pole, and as I went down, the pole was stressing on my wrist, and it felt like I was going to break my wrist. Luckily, I managed to kind of throw my shoulder down and break the fall. But I don't like poles, and it's the same if you've ever skied. You know what I'm on about. You're supposed to put the straps so you don't lose a ski, you know what I mean? But if you ever to crash when you're skiing and you tumble and you kind of somersault down or whatever, when the poles are spinning in the air with the straps, you feel like you're breaking your wrists. So everyone to their own. I know when you're skiing, you're supposed to keep the straps on, because if you lose the pole, then you can go halfway down a mountain. But everyone to their own, innit? But yeah, I don't use straps on poles, hiking poles. I'd rather, if that happens and I'm holding this and I've got the weight of a heavy pack and I'm going over, I just let go of the pole. My hand is not restricted by a strap, you know what I mean? I just let go of the pole, and I can then brace myself with my hand, probably sprain my hand, could even break a bone, you know what I mean? But at least I can get my hand out in front of me. Otherwise, like I said, years ago, it happened. I fell and I had to throw my shoulder, otherwise my face would have hit a rock. We were going between two boulders, big boulders in the Peak District, and I would have ended up using my face to stop the fall, and because my hand couldn't get out because it was trapped between my feet, doing like a figure four. And that was all because dogs clipped it and it kind of spun back and kind of got between my legs. So, yeah, Alpine, Black Diamond Alpine, I don't know if it's Alpine cork, Alpine, Trail Ego cork, Trail Ego. Just seen it, I haven't seen it for ages. I thought they were Alpine, Trail Ego pork. Click clock, yeah. I've had these good 10 years. Never let me down. Never. I mean, they're battered, they're knocked, they're chipped, they're cracked. Never let me down. Sometimes if you put in a lot of energy, the pole will slide in a bit. But it's 2 seconds unset. I always set it about 120 on that and 115 on that, and I believe, look, it feels good. My arms are more straight, you know what I mean, level. My arms ain't going down, my arms ain't up, you know what I mean, they're nice out. And I can dig into the ground, because as you get older, you kind of try and rest your knees. But anyway, that's the someone asked me about them, so they saw them, they're curved. Even putting out tents and all that, you know, you get these lightweight tents like Hilliberg and Aris. You might get some mountain laurel designs, tarps. Even with the curve, I've never had a problem setting the tent out. It's never kind of, once it's in and you've got the system taut, it doesn't matter the curved handle, I've never had an issue. So that's that. That's them 2 bits of kit. As I say, I will be showing you bits of kit because people have been asking me questions. So, and it works, you know. If it can go through what I take it through in all conditions and with 3 dogs, you know what I mean? It does work. Right, got to get my sleeping bag out and settle down for the night. I think I've got the fire going. I'm going to have to put the door on that. Hold on. That's better. Just calm it down a bit. I don't want to snuff it out. I didn't think it would go. I was using toilet roll. That was damp. A little bit of that. These little tweaks, very small, fine. Rebel, lie down. Whoa. Going a bit crazy now. Close that. I don't know what's burning. Something was burning a bit hot there. I haven't rammed it before, it's just little twigs. Little twigs are caught. There you go, I cracked it just a little bit. Getting a bit wild, weren't you? This is always burnt really good, but because I put this little stuff, it's really caught well. Some of it must be really dry. But what I want to do is just get it started and then put some chunks of logs, bits I've got, and hopefully just simmer it. I'm not looking for a fire. I just want to, it's cosy, isn't it, in a Bothy to have a fire. But yeah, that burns like crazy when it gets going. It's just getting going. Of course, throwing out some heat now. I just wanted to get going and kind of know that it's biting really well. And there's no accelerant in there at all. It's just a bit of toilet roll. I think it's kitchen roll, to be honest. It was a bit damp. It was these little twigs. They must have been really, really dry. So now I'll just put a little bit on there every now and then, just to keep it burning, but not have it roaring, because the embers are nice and hot now. But the guys here before me said they tried the hardest to get a fire going and they couldn't get it going. I started it, went out, started it again, left it. It's getting things ready for the dogs, and I could hear something crackling. I thought, I'll just leave it, and I'm sure it'll catch. And lo and behold, it did. Then you saw what it was doing, it was getting wild. But yeah, nice now. I'm not wanting to heat the room out. It's just, when a fire goes, just, you know, the embers are just burning. It's just so soothing, isn't it? Especially at night. It'll be dark soon. I've got to feed dogs. It looks light outside, but it's not. It's dusk now. Lie down, you. Dogs, oh God. I ain't got no light now. That's better. I mean, they're probably going to be really too warm now, but later on when I wake up, I'll make sure they're covered. Just to take the chill off. It's not cold. They've got jackets on, they're on beds. These 2 are off the ground, so they're not going to feel cold. Stella's got a board underneath. Yeah, maybe her toes, maybe her tail might be touching the floor. But she's going to be well insulated there. If anything, she's going to be too hot as well. I wouldn't be surprised if I find her uncovered because she's getting too warm. Fire's not been touched. Look. Isn't that beautiful? Got a candle over there. It was near the window. But I'm going to sleep so hard tonight that if it did fall, or sort of flame dropped or something like that, the first thing I know about it landing on my bed is when I wake up in hospital with 3rd degree burns, if I'm lucky. So I don't want to take a chance. Over there, it might fall there, but again, I don't think you can't start. I mean, I can't start a fire. Move that gas a bit over. Plastics out of the way. No, I mean, it's in solid. Ouch. I thought I was going to get the wax on me. Sorry. They're not going to come near it. What happened a couple of years ago, I don't know what happened, you know, how it started, but there was a fire in here, hence why now we've got fire doors, and I think there's a fire alarm up there. And it's the same in the other room, that's why they did it. I remember soon after you could see the scorched ceiling before the boards had been changed, and there was a sign up, this is when it was all open in just one room, there was buckets of water. I think I showed you on one of the videos, and there was a sign up saying make sure you have buckets of water just in case of a fire. So they obviously took it serious after what happened. I don't blame them, because these places are precious, you know what I mean? If they burn down, it's going to cost a lot of money to repair. And they're maintained by Mountain Bothy Association, and I'm sure they haven't got thousands of spare pounds just to rebuild a bothy again. And if it gets misused and things like that, I don't know how the fire started. It could have been an accident, do you know what I mean? Then, even though the Mountain Bothy Association maintain the bothies, the estate probably owns them, you know what I mean? So the estate, if it finds they're being abused, can take them away, and have done in the past in certain places. Shame. Pean was a lovely one. That was getting abused. I visited it just before it more or less went private. Now they're raking in the cash on that one, but people did abuse it. They were fouling outside, too near the bothy. There was parties coming out. I think the kayakers were coming out and causing problems. I'm not saying this. This is what I was told and what the estate owners were saying. I don't know if it's true. It was just an excuse to change it over to a private bothy. I think probably a bit of both, to be honest. Anyway, enough rabbiting. I've talked enough today. Now 10 to 8. Midges are out, crazy out there. Now the plan for tomorrow is get up. Hopefully the sun's up. I want to start charging things, because I've been using power pack today because I couldn't charge anything because it was like mixed sun. No rush to get out. It's only 4 miles, 5 miles we're doing, then pitch, and then start searching from there. Stella can rest. And then we're doing another day, 4 or 5 miles up the pass, pitch, start searching around, you know, coming straight, and do it that way. And coming back, try and change it somehow. I don't know how, but I'll try and do my best. Tonight, I've got to get sleep. That's all I need. So that's it. I've talked enough today. See you in the morning. There will be no evening video, not unless the place is burning down or the Martians have landed outside. And again, it looks really light outside. There's this flash bouncing off the window, making it look, it doesn't look light out there at all. It's getting really dim. I don't know if you can see the sky. Oh, it still looks light. It's dusk, you know what I mean, when the sun's going down. But look, no breeze out there at all. That could be a problem tomorrow if it's like that for us. But there again, we'll probably be in the tent by then anyway. Right, I'm going to bed. Or should I say, I'll lie on the bed, probably doze off.